Respected seniors, chairpersons, and my dear friends. Today, I'm going to talk about plastic surgeon's perspective about soft tissue management in diabetic foot ulcers. I don't have any conflict of interest. Diabetic complications. Greatest fears of diabetic patients are loss of eyesight and amputation. The global problem at glance. The most expensive complication of diabetes is foot ulcer and gangrene. Someone somewhere loses a leg because of diabetes every 30 seconds of every day. The problems in India. India is having the maximum population of diabetes mellitus. That is around 42 million people are affected with diabetes. Hence, we are called as diabetic capital of the world. In India, approximately 40,000 major limb amputations are done per year. 85% of these are due to infected neuropathic ulcers, which are easily preventable with proper management. What is a diabetic foot disease? It is a term that refers to a spectrum of diseases involving any component of the tissue of foot of the diabetic patient. It includes skin, soft tissues, and osseous structures of the foot, as shown in this picture. Pathogenic spectrum of diabetic foot disease ranges from skin lesions, soft tissue lesions, and bone and joint lesions. Today's talk, we are concentrating on diabetic foot ulcers, that is soft tissue lesions and their reconstruction with plastic surgery. The triad of diabetic foot problems with a minor trauma, there can be a ulcer formation because of these three things, that is infection, vasculopathy, and neuropathy. What is a diabetic foot ulcer? Any break in the cutaneous barrier, which usually extend through the full thickness of dermis, and it can be acute or chronic in nature. Any ulcer that remains unhealed after 4 weeks is associated with worst outcomes. These are the common sites for diabetic foot ulcers, as you all know. Coming to surgical management of diabetic foot ulcers, there are three main things, that is detecting foot at risk, treatment, that is surgical management of established foot ulcer as per the international guidelines, and prevention of diabetic foot ulcers and recurrence. Referral of diabetic foot patient to higher level of healthcare team is very important. Never do what a specialist can do better. Discover your own specialty. What are the indications for referral to a higher level of healthcare? Necrotizing fasciitis, all grade 2 and grade 3 ulcers, ulcers with ischemic component, systemic sepsis, uncontrolled blood sugar, deformed foot, charcot foot, no improvement in 3 days. You should early referral it to a specialty center having a team of diabetic foot care specialists to save the foot. As you all know, diabetic foot care is a team approach. It consists of diabetologist or endocrinologist, plastic surgeon, vascular surgeon, orthopedic surgeon, podiatrist, wound care nurse, orthotist, nutritionist, microbiologist, psychiatrist, physiotherapist, and social worker. What is the role of plastic surgeon? As a plastic surgeon, we have the best skills and knowledge of treating very complex wounds. Hence, we are popularly known as wound healers. We have the advanced understanding of skin, soft tissues, tendomuscular, and bone healing. We, as a plastic surgeon, can repair or transfer all types of needed tissues involved in diabetic foot ulcers. We are called wound healers because of the fact that we have advanced understanding of soft tissues and tendomuscular bone healing, as seen in this injury. Though it was a sharp injury, it consists of all the structures, skin, soft tissue, bone, and joint. And you can see the patient can get reasonable function and gait with the help of plastic surgeon. So the primary goal of a plastic surgeon is wound healing. Always think of primary healing. Wait and watch may lead to disaster in many cases. Either repair or cover or reconstruct the wound at the earliest. What are the principles of foot reconstruction? To create a mobile soft tissue envelope with biomechanically correct contour of the bones to absorb or reduce shear and direct forces which occur at the interface between foot and footwear is the goal and principles of foot reconstruction. What is the plastic surgical reconstructive ladder? Allow the wound to heal by secondary intention, which is only possible in very minor cases, minor ulcers in a stable patient without infection. Direct tissue closure, then comes advancement flap, then comes skin graft, and if there are local bone involved or exposed, then local flap transfer like medial plantar artery flap, distant flap transfers like sural flap, and free microvascular flap transfer. What are the tips for good management of diabetic foot ulcers? Reconstruct with or without skin graft or flap. Give footwear with proper planning, foot exercises, scar stretching and manipulation, gradual mobilization, and patient education to prevent recurrence. Timing of the surgery, we feel that earliest it should be treated, especially in acute infections. Complete metabolic control may not be possible before surgery in case of acute spreading infections like necrotizing fasciitis. In case of necrotizing fasciitis, it needs urgent attention. Preoperatively, we have to quickly stabilize the patient hemodynamically, and the surgery, that is debridement, should be done as early as possible. A radical debridement of wounds under magnification and under tourniquet control is the very important two factors suggested by a plastic surgeon. Earliest and best possible wound cover should be given. These are the loops with which we debride all the tissues accurately. Coming to necrotizing fasciitis, inadequate debridement can delay the healing time. As in this case number 1 in a 62-year diabetic male who was admitted in another hospital for necrotizing fasciitis since last 25 days, and he underwent daily serial debridements, which may be, I feel, inadequate, and he was dressed with variety of fancy dressings without much improvement. So radical debridement needs to be done under tourniquet using loop magnification for more accuracy, like in this case. You can see this was the preoperative and this is immediately after debridement. Although making the wound larger with debridement seems counter to the ideal of healing of the wound, but leaving non-viable tissue will harbor bacteria and inhibit healing efforts. So don't worry about the bigger defect, but do the debridement radically. If it is dead, it has to go. That is the principle. And the wound cover should be earliest. All the infected necrous fascia needs to be excised till fresh capillary bleeding is encountered. Sacrifice all dead and necrotic tissues. An immediate cover can be done if we are confident about viability of the wound bed, as in this case. And after immediate grafting, this patient healed in 16 days, and this is follow-up picture after 4 months. This is how this patient presented, then debridement, and this is the healing. Another case, 58-year male, amputation of gangrene of great toe done elsewhere. There was a necrotizing fasciitis of dorsum of foot with gangrene of second toe tip. And on admission, debridement was done under magnification with such bleeding healthy bed, and immediate skin grafting was done as the bed appeared healthy. And this is the picture after healing and in the follow-up. So a deformed foot is much better than absent foot. Post-operatively, necrotizing fasciitis needs intense clinical monitoring, maximize general supportive measures, then bactericidal combination of antibiotics, and watch for multi-organ failure. Coming to soft tissue reconstruction for weight-bearing heel area with calcaneal osteomyelitis. Here, transposition flap from medial arch, which is based on medial plantar artery, is drawn, and this flap, which is a very robust flap, can be used to cover this calcaneal bone. This is case number 3, heel ulcer, transposition flap was done from medial arch based on medial plantar artery, and the donor area, small donor defect, was covered with skin graft. Coming to clinical case number 5, Soft tissue reconstruction when weight bearing heel area is involved and the calcaneal bone is not exposed. In this case, we have done debridement and we have put NPWT, which help for the cleaning of the wound. And then we did skin grafting, and this is a stable wound cover. Patient presented after 2 years without any recurrence. Coming to next case, which is 72-year male presented with non-healing ulcer on the heel since 1 month. There was no osteomyelitis. Debridement and immediate skin grafting was done with Taiwo dressing, and there was a nice healing. And this is the picture in the follow-up. And the gentleman has sent the video of his gait from his home. He's able to walk nicely. Then there are flaps using VY advancement for the heel defect, like in this diagram. Also, there is a muscle flap for reconstruction of weight-bearing heel area with exposed calcaneum, where flexor luteum brevis muscle and skin grafting is used. Surgical management of diabetic foot ulcer using sural flap for cover in exposed calcaneum. This is clinical case number 7, where 61-year male with exposed calcaneal bone in a diabetic ulcer. We had reconstructed this using a sural fasciocutaneous flap from calf. Reconstructed flap with sural fasciocutaneous flap from calf gives good cosmetic and functional results. Coming to this small variety of transposition and rotation flaps for weight-bearing areas on metatarsal head. This is a fillet flap. This is a small transposition flap. This is again one lobe flap. These are bilobe flaps. And this is a rotation flap. These are small flaps which are used for metatarsal head area ulcers. This is again example of first metatarsal head ulcer where VY advancement flap was used for reconstruction. In this case, there was no involvement of underlying bone. So the ulcer was restricted to soft tissues at the first metatarsal head, which was debrided and immediate skin grafting was done. And you can see the grafted area, even after 2 years, there is no recurrence. The patient is using proper footwear. Coming to this case where there was a gangrene of fifth toe, which was amputated elsewhere, and patient presented with this small area of necrotizing fasciitis with slough, which was inadequately debrided. So in our hospital, under magnification and under tourniquet control, we debrided it nicely, and we applied negative pressure wound therapy. And after 1 or 2 sittings, this is the granulation tissue where we have skin grafted the area with complete healing. Then for non-weight bearing area, in a case of neurotrophic ulcer, this was the patient where we have done debridement and simple skin grafting with Taiwo dressing. And this is after healing of the wound. And patient is using proper footwear to protect the skin graft. Coming to negative pressure wound therapy used in diabetic foot ulcers, introduction of NPWT provoke a recognizable change in different therapeutic concept in the reconstructive plastic surgery. NPWT produces a change in the treatment algorithms. Hence, the older traditional reconstructive ladder is now updated to reflect its use. What are the advantages of NPWT in diabetic foot ulcer? NPWT prepares the wound bed for closure. It maintains a moist wound environment. It removes exudate and infectious material. It promotes perfusion and reduces edema. Also, NPWT promotes granulation tissue formation and makes the wound ready for reconstruction. Friends, please remember well, NPWT is not an alternative for plastic surgical reconstruction. This is a clinical case where 62-year diabetic female presented with right foot non-healing ulcer. She had taken treatment in other hospital for 1 month with some minor procedures of debridement and dressings, but with no healing of the tissue. When she presented to us, it was badly infected near circumferential wound with necrotizing fasciitis and gangrene of toe with cellulitis of leg with sepsis. The wound culture showed Pseudomonas infection. We posted the patient for a debridement and a magnification. And after thorough debridement, we decided to use the NPWT with installation therapy as a wound preparation and treatment of biofilm. And after 3 sittings of NPWT, the wound was good to go for skin grafting. And this is the result after skin graft, healing of the skin graft. Total 43 days, patient healed completely with debridement and skin grafting. The same patient presented again after 8 months for a plantar abscess, which was extending till calcaneum, and there was a calcaneum osteomyelitis also. So under tourniquet control, under magnification, we debrided the wound thoroughly to remove all the necrotic tissue and abscess cavity. And we applied NPWT, and she did well with just advancement flap without any skin graft or any other reconstruction like sural flap, etc. And this is the picture, and this is the video which shows that is a reasonable gait and patient is using the foot reasonably. We have given her footwear also. Coming to another case, this was a post-traumatic deglowing injury in a diabetic patient. This was near circumferential injury where we had debrided all the tissue and put the NPWT. This was an extensive deglowing injury. So as an example, we have put this as a clinical case. And after simple skin grafting, you can see the result, and you can see in the gait of the patient. Patient is walking on the skin grafted area very nicely. He has sent this video from his home. Though we have given protective footwear, patient can also walk on barefoot reasonably well without any pain. This is a case of diabetic wet gangrene of toes with ketoacidosis. Such cases needs aggressive debridement and reconstructive surgery. We have done immediate debridement and excision of all the necrotic gangrenous tissue, and we have applied NPWT followed by skin graft, and the patient healed in 22. The wound healed in 22 days. Coming to peripheral artery disease in diabetes, avoid amputation of ischemic limb prior to evaluation by a vascular surgeon. If infected, limited drainage can be done, followed by immediate vascular evaluation and referral to vascular surgeon. Unless vascular surgeon gives his opinion, we should not go ahead for amputation. Like in this case, this was a case of 65-year diabetic patient presented on 4th day with little to amputation done elsewhere. There was a progressive gangrene of adjacent toes also with huge plantar abscess. Here we have done vascular evaluation, and we have to go for midfoot amputation because of the vascular problem. We could not save his forefoot and toes. So wet and wash policy after debridement of a critical ischemic lesion can result in increased morbidity and mortality and cost to the patient. Hence, when it is evaluated by a plastic surgeon and vascular surgeon, we can go ahead with amputation. These are various levels of amputations. Again, critically ischemic limb, which needs amputation at appropriate level to prevent further damage and earliest healing. This was a case where there was a severe narrowing of the vessels and there was no flow. So there was no any logic in keeping this foot. With the opinion of vascular surgeon, we have done amputation for such patient. These are various indications for primary amputations in case of peripheral arterial disease. Remember, amputation is neither cheaper nor better. Amputation has its own morbidity and mortality. And you should know that vascular reconstruction mortality and morbidity is lesser than amputation. So amputation has long-term higher cost than vascular reconstruction. So whenever indicated, patient should be posted for vascular reconstruction. And whenever indicated, patient should go for amputation. These are adjuvant plastic surgical procedures like vascular reconstruction, tarsal tendon release, bone management, tendon arrangement, etc., which patient may need as per the status. So coming to discussion, specially focused clinic on diabetic foot care has very positive impact on the management of diabetic foot ulcers. This team approach gives opportunities for the patient, relatives, and the team of Diabetic Foot Clinic to exchange and share various experiences among each other. In summary, plastic surgeons have the capability of enhancing healing by soft tissue manipulation following reconstructive algorithm to manage and salvage diabetic foot ulcers. Plastic surgeons play a critical role in salvage of limb as durable soft tissue coverage is essential. Autologous skin graft are the commonest methods which are used to cover diabetic foot ulcers. The skin can be used as a flap or partial thickness graft and require recipient bed that is well vascularized and free of bacterial contamination. Lower extremity complications remain amongst the most common reason for hospitalization in patients with diabetes. Soft tissue reconstruction by an experienced plastic surgical team can help preserve as much as residual limb as possible. And in some cases, preservation of foot may be possible, avoiding a major amputation with the help of plastic surgeon. So protocols based on national and international guidelines helps for faster recovery of diabetic foot problems. Earliest debridement and reconstruction definitely helps to reduce morbidity, hospitalization, and cost of treatment of diabetes patient. Again, I don't have a case of foot amputation. That's why I'm showing this a case of hand replant. Just to highlight that plastic surgeons have the advanced understanding of skin, soft tissues, tenomuscular, and bone healing. So plastic surgeons are of a great help as in the team. Diabetic foot management needs multidisciplinary team. Plastic surgeon has a very important role in diabetic foot management. Early and aggressive debridement and reconstructive surgery has major advantages in managing complex diabetic foot ulcers, like early healing, reduced hospital stay and cost of treatment, and less chances of major amputations. Friends, healthy feet can take you anywhere in the world. And again, I emphasize it's a team approach for any diabetic foot center. The plastic surgical procedures are long, intense, and performed under physically and emotionally stressful conditions. Hence, needs a highly spirited team effort. I'm fortunate to have this great team of Bemda Hospital, and I thank you all on their behalf. Thank you very much. Thank you.